Good evening and welcome to our Human Rights Day Florida Virtual Conference. My name is Michael Clayton and I'll be your MC for tonight, and I'm excited to be here with you because today is a very important day. Today we celebrate International Human Rights Day and the 20th anniversary of Youth for Human Rights International. We've got an amazing lineup of speakers today from all across Florida, all of them leaders in the movement for human rights. We're also going to be finding out who's being awarded the 2021 Champion for Freedom, as well as the awardees of Human Rights Heroes. Make sure you share this video on your page. Invite your friends to come and watch by tagging them in the comments. And you can also always ask questions in the comments section. The staff of United for Human Rights will be monitoring and answering the questions during the live feed. So please don't be shy. Help us reach as many people across Florida with the message of human rights and share it now. And so, for our first speaker of this evening, I'm going to now welcome the Executive Director of United for Human Rights Florida, Mr. Christian Vargas.
Fantastic. Wow. Thank you so much, Michael. I'm so glad you're here with us tonight. Today is a phenomenal day. It's extremely exciting because it is, as you said, International Human Rights Day. And it is a monumental day because it's also the 20th anniversary of Youth for Human Rights. So I am so glad to be here. We have such incredible leaders tonight, and I'm so honored that you are emceeing this event. Thank you, Michael. So as you said, my name is Christian Vargas. I've been the Executive Director of United for Human Rights Florida for 6 years. And the story of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, in a very brief summary of it, is that in 1948, after World War II finished in 45 and the United Nations was formed, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was drafted and proclaimed as the universal document of human rights that everybody has, no matter where you're from, no matter what the color of your skin is, no matter what you believe in, no matter your age. These are the rights that we all have and we all share inalienably. So with that, this document was passed, it was approved by the majority of the members of the United Nations, and to date, it's the most widely accepted human rights document. However, not many people know that it exists. And even less people can name that they have 30 human rights. Maybe they'll name 1 or 2, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, but all 30 are what compose that Declaration of Human Rights. And so we, as United for Human Rights and Youth for Human Rights, our youth components, are humbled and honored that we can take that document and educate and promote worldwide that these are our rights, that these are our freedoms, and that unless we know and apply them, nobody will actually have them. Because human rights are actually something that you use day to day. It's not just for the government to apply and enforce, although of course that must happen. But it's something that every single resident and citizen from all over the world needs to understand what they are and ensure that they are applying them and respecting them. So with that being said, we have our whole educational program, and we work relentlessly all over the world to ensure that people know what these rights are. We have user-friendly material, we have videos, booklets, and the whole gamut that we use to promote and raise awareness to youth, to adults, to people of all ages and from places of all over the world that these are their rights. So with that being said, it comes full circle to 20 years after the creation of Youth for Human Rights. So how did it all start? In brief, which is very, very powerful, a woman named Dr. Mary Shuttleworth, the president of Youth for Human Rights International, founded Youth for Human Rights in 2001. She was an educator, born and raised in apartheid South Africa. She saw the religious discrimination happening in South Africa, and she decided to do something about it, but she took it so much farther than just her own home and her own neighborhood, which is what's led us to being an international movement with Dr. Mary Shuttleworth still spearheading this organization worldwide to this very day, holding world summits and world tours every single year where she travels and meets individuals, governments, and organizations, working with youth, working with religious leaders, and making sure that everybody she encounters knows and understands their human rights. We want to say thank you here from Florida to you, Dr. Mary Shuttleworth, for being the leader and the humanitarian that you are in this movement of human rights. And I want to give everyone a brief summary of some of the accomplishments over just the last year or two of United for Human Rights Florida, because quite frankly, although the past 2 years have been interesting to say the least, we've all worldwide experienced something that we did not think we would. And we've had to overcome many challenges and obstacles. But the truth is, ultimately, we've had to overcome those together. And anything that didn't bring us together only divided us more, which is exactly the opposite of what we should be doing. So to that end, we never closed our doors. And whether we had to be open or stay closed, wear masks or not, the purpose remained the same. Human rights education is important, more important now than ever, to make sure that it's known and applied for people of all ages all over the world. In the past 2 years, we've held over 150 events around Florida. We've reached tens of thousands of kids, teaching them what their human rights are. We've held dozens of webinars. In fact, over the last 6 months, holding them weekly and bi-weekly so that people all over Florida have access to this message of human rights. And we've relentlessly made sure that this material and this information is available for anyone across Florida that wants to come on board and promote human rights, educate, and use their voice. Use their voice for change so that people know what these rights are, and then they become enforced and applied by governments. But that only starts at home and in communities. So with that being said, it's been a very, very exciting 2 years, and we're really just getting started. There are a lot of big plans for 2022, and we're glad that we have such an incredible team of volunteers, of partners, and individuals from all walks of life that all share this one purpose. That purpose is human rights. And that purpose of human rights is unshakable when you really believe that these rights are what bring us together. So no matter where you are watching this event from, whether it's in or out of Florida, no matter who you are and what you're involved in your life, in your career, human rights has something to do with you. And the more you're involved, the better. So I definitely invite everybody to reach out, to find out what we are and what we do, so that you can also become a part of this beautiful movement of human rights. Because ultimately, if all of us together are not working on making sure that human rights stay and become and stay a reality, then we won't be able to achieve our purpose of making human rights actually applied and becoming a reality for us all. So with that being said, I just want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. I am so glad that you're here with us tonight, whether you're watching now live, whether you're watching later as it gets posted. I'm so glad that we have such a beautiful team of all of our executives, staff, and volunteers. And of course, all of our beautiful partners, whether it's the speakers that are joining us tonight, Michael, the MC, who is a humanitarian, NFL player, TV host, educator, you name it. I really thank all of you for being here, for being a part of this movement, for being a part of the human rights family, because this is a movement that we can all do together. So thank you so much for having me. Thank you for being here. And I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. Michael Clayton and for the rest of the evening to all the speakers. Thank you very much.
Christian, thank you so much for your passion and your efforts leading the charge, educating youth and adults about human rights. It is so important, man. I just want to say thank you for your passion in these efforts. So now we're going to hear from our keynote speaker for the evening. He has a bachelor's degree in political science from the Florida International University, worked at the U.S. House of Representatives as a congressional constituency liaison and casework administrator. He's worked in the Coral Gables mayor's office and Miami-Dade County mayor's office as the mayor's assistant and casework administrator. His community involvement includes being a board member for United Latin American Foundation, a board member for the Lions Club and Rotary Club, and a former board member of the World Trade Center Miami. We have the pleasure of having him join us tonight, Mr. Alfred Santa Maria. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's truly an honor to be here with you all today and talk about such an important subject, which is, in my opinion, the foundation for everything that we can accomplish as a humankind in the world. I'm honored to be here, and thank you for the invitation. I think the welcome remarks made by you and the executive president are very, very important because it highlights the achievements, but also the history behind human rights. And even if we go back to the beginning of the United Nations that was founded right after World War II, after 1945, not much time has happened since then. And if you think about it, the largest progress that has happened in the world is once democracy and human rights and liberty upon people start being implemented. So in essence, what I would like to focus my brief remarks is that when human rights are protected, when human rights are encouraged in communities, we could see immediately that all the data associated to progress, to invention, to advancing in a social manner prosper. It's like a formula of success. Just as we have formula of failure, there is a formula of success. So the countries that celebrate, protect, and encourage human rights, liberties, and respect for the individuals, we could see a spike on productivity, prosperity, and many other things. When we go back into the unleashed capacity of human beings, is directly connected with the principles that are celebrated by human rights. I'm really happy as well that human rights was able to found um, human rights for the youth. And why is this so important? Because the youth is that uh, generation that will be having important roles and positions in the future. It's that next generation that will be the leaders of the future. And if there is one principle that should be upheld, protected, celebrated, is human rights. Human rights are founded on 30 principles. And as the executive director highlighted, many people don't know them. And this is so important and made such a revolution in the world and made and brought with it so much progress that we need to talk about it. And when we talk about it, about the rights of human rights, when we celebrate them, when we use the different platforms and connect with people and tell them about it, we create an engagement. We create education. And the only thing that transforms the mind of individuals, the only thing that transforms in a permanent way and in a sustainable way humans is information. And therefore, the information of human rights has to be spread throughout the world and the different platforms. And although there's been progress made around the world when it comes to human rights, There are also many countries where human rights of individuals are directly forgotten. And as we talk about these foundations and these principles of human rights, um, the word gets around, the message gets around. As the message gets around, people become informed. As people become informed, they become active. As people become active, changes start happening. So the trigger and the beginning of change starts with information. And exactly what we're doing today, what we're doing right now, is talking about information that sets people free. Um, when we have this information spread throughout the different platforms and talking about this goes all the way up to the highest levels. And we should become part of the change we want to see in our society. We should be part of that change we want to see in our families, in our neighborhoods, in our work environments. And that's why I so proudly I'm part of this group, and I'm honored to be here because um, I want to see more human rights being implemented. I want to see more education implemented. Therefore, I must be part of it. I must engage. A lot of times we think that change comes from the outside, but it's not a reality. uh, the first step of change starts with us. And we had a choice today. We had a choice to participate here today and get engaged and get involved and wanting to make a difference, or just kind of flip the page and say, this is important, but it's not that important. You know what? This is very important, and we all have an impact. It's like I always like to think of the case of a kid that was walking one day down the beach, and every time he saw a sea star that was kind of on the sand on the shore, he would send it back into the ocean, into the water, so it wouldn't die out there on the sand. And he did this for 5 hours. And there was an older man watching the kid from far, and approached the kid and told the kid, listen, what do you think you're doing? And you think you're going to save the world? You think you're going to save all the sea stars? And he said, no, sir. I know I won't change the world or all the sea stars in the world, but this one here I'm holding in my hand, I'm changing its future. I'm changing its life. And so, and he sent it back into the ocean and saved that sea star. So the bottom line here is that, of course, it's complex, it's complicated. We will not be making a world change, but all movements started with a group of people that wanted to be an element of change. All movements started small. All movements started with a foundation of information, and that's exactly what we're doing here. We are celebrating an anniversary. We're celebrating human rights. We're proud, and we're in the right side of history. And although humankind has advanced a lot, as I said earlier, there's still more room to grow. There are places in the world where humans are still treated in a really demeanor way, but that humans don't have rights, and these rights are not being protected. And and again, there is a direct connection. The more we protect the rights of individuals, the more governments, local, state, federal, the more we protect the rights of others, the right of individuals, the more prosperity there is. We could pick up an example of different places, even in our hemisphere, that are violating human rights, like, for example, Cuba, or Venezuela, or Nicaragua, where we could see that those countries are rich and natural resources, minerals, and many other things. But because the current forms of government are not celebrating, upholding the principles of human rights, we could see that those countries are currently experiencing poverty and many indicators of social economic in their country. So there is a direct connection in upholding, protecting, and celebrating human rights with prosperities in our communities. And I think the bottom line here is that we can all make a difference. We can all be part of an organization like this one and celebrate this information and share this information and share this information with the world. And as we do that, the principles of human rights become stronger, become more solid. We should be an element of change, of the change we want to see in the world. The change that you want to see, you need to be an active component, an active element of change. For example, if you want to see, this is just an example, if you want to see a more clean community, why don't you start by picking up trash around your neighborhood? That will initiate, will make change. That will create a movement. Before you know, your entire neighborhood will look a lot more cleaner. That minor little example could translate into something bigger. So I can't think of anything greater, of anything bigger, of anything more important than celebrating the rights of individuals. Look, most sociologists agree that if we were to study the last 5 million years of humankind, starting in Mesopotamia, then advancing into um, into the Babylonian Empire, then the Greek Empire, then the Roman Empire, then the Dark Ages, the Enlightenment, and you could go on and on. You could definitely see that there was a curve that happened, a curve that made an incredible change in the way society as a whole advanced. And that has one explanation on my watch and my understanding on all the reading I've done. And I'm talking from a perspective I've been able to study through a master's degree in business or a bachelor's in political science. This is something I put a lot of reading and understanding into. The the reason humanity did not prosper, and the reason we only have a little more than 100 years with a light bulb, a little more than 100 years with an airplane, and many technological advances and many other advances, is because only until about 100 years ago is when the human population were unleashed by the persecution and how should I say, the bad influence of bad rulers, of dictators, of kings that did not respected the rights of the individuals. And then we started to see that in the last 100 years, or maybe a little more, we started to see that change in the U.S. and other countries, and we started to see that when those in authorities, those in powers, move to the side and respect the rights of the individuals, um, a lot of wonderful things start to flourish. And then, of course, after in 1948, when human rights were founded, we started to see the progress I just described, but in a more exponential manner. Therefore, if we want to defend something that will create an incredible impact in our communities, in our countries, and around the world, that has to be one thing, and that has to be to respect the right of human rights. Therefore, I want to say thank you for the opportunity to share this excitement and this information I have, and how excited I am about being part of this wonderful group of people that understand the importance of celebrating and being part of human rights. I want to be part of it. I don't want to be left aside. I want to be. I want to do like that kid that sent back the sea star back to the ocean. I know I'm not gonna change the world, but I know that I could make a difference in one individual. I know I could be part of that chain that create tremendous impact. And what you guys are doing, I want to congratulate the executive director and everybody who made this possible. I'm very excited because we need to do more of this. We need to engage more people, and hopefully whomever is watching and whomever this video gets to, get involved, reach out. You could do your 2 cents. You could look, if you're not part of the solution, then you're part of the problem. Be proactive, be part of the solution, and understand that what we're talking about is not philosophy, it's not history. All those things are important, but we're talking about the element that made the biggest impact in humankind. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and I'm looking forward to continuing to work with you all.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Santana Maria. The examples that you gave really help us bring clarity to the situation on the ground, people who have been affected and violated for lack of human rights. So we just thank you for your passion as well, your diligence and your expertise in this field. As we continue next, we have a very good friend of ours who is a staunch leader in the field of human and civil rights. Reverend Clyde Carter is a native of Dade City, Florida. He graduated from Pasco High School and has a degree in business administration and management from Hernando State College. He served our country for 20 years in the United States Army, and he is a very, very proud veteran. He also received the President's Volunteer Service Award this year for his community service. Hello, Reverend Carter. It is a pleasure to have you here with us today as well.
Thank you, Mr. Clayton. I appreciate that very much, Mr. Clayton, for introducing me. Let me start off by saying good evening to everyone. Hello to my great friend, Mr. Christian Vargas, Executive Director of United for Human Rights, Florida, and my very friend also, Mr. Christopher King, President of Human Rights, Florida. I want to take the thank you for inviting me to this part of this great celebration. Let me start out by saying, congratulations on this International Human Rights Day. Human Rights Day, very, very vitally important. Let's talk about it for a few minutes. It's vitally important that our young generation be involved in human rights. By learning their rights, they learn responsibility. They become productive citizens. When a young person learns that they are expected to do, then they can share this with their friends. The human rights is all about sharing information and sharing the right information. And as we know about the 30 human rights and we learn about them, they're very important. But there's one that I really set my heart onto was we are born free and equal. Everybody's born free and equal. No stress, no one looking over your shoulder or your back, anything like that. You're just born naturally. A great individual that just came into this world. And so therefore you're coming in with no blemish. You're coming in with everything in front of you, which is a great asset because now as a baby and then grow up to be a young man or a young lady and a young adult into adulthood, you're going to be learning different things throughout your life. And it's great to have great teachers and great men and women teach you the ways of human rights. I'm taken back a little bit about some great leaders that was a great emphasis and they promoted human rights, such as Mahatma Gandhi, which was our 20th century political and spiritual leader of India. Great man, great man. Also Nelson Mandela, South African statesman and Nobel Peace Prize winner. His stories is one story that's been told throughout the world. And if you haven't got in touch with his story, please follow his autobiography. Please look him up, check him out. Like I always say, Google is your best friend. And one other person that I'm very highly commended as one of our greatest leaders was Martin Luther King Jr. He worked for the rights of African Americans as well, but he also said something very important. And this has kind of stuck with me down through the years. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. I'll say that again. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So my meaning behind all this is that we've got to get involved. Young people, we have got to get involved. And by you learning your human rights and by understanding the meaning of them, you're going to get involved. As our greatest speaker said, our keynote speaker, get involved with your community. That's one of the greatest assets of leadership, is getting involved in your community. Because once they see you doing something very positive, very focused, they're going to ask questions. And I tell everybody, once somebody is curious about something, they're going to come ask you, what are you doing? And you just explain to them how you're doing things and what you're doing and the reason why you're doing. And then you have a point where you can share information about the human rights at that point. Because I always say you got to get them in first so you're able to teach them, to assist them, and to help them. And what better way to do it? By example. That's very important as a young people I see going forward in our society. You got to lead by example. You can't just stay behind the door and say, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. You have to take a leap of faith. Step out there. Do what you think is right. Do what you think that's going to lead your community, lead others to the right thing to do. And human rights is just like that. Once they see that you're focused and you're determined to do what's right, things come out a whole lot better. And to the young people, I say, you are the future. We are just here for a while, and then we go off the scene. But our future is in our young people. And by doing this International Human Rights Day 2021 is a positive focus, a positive way of doing things. And I'm commending the directors and everyone that's behind the scenes, working with Christian and doing things positively and getting the word out to everyone. This is a great focus. And once people learn that you have a mission and you have something that you want to drive home and drive into the people, into the neighborhoods, it'll catch on. And once it catches on, like I say, like wildfire, so to speak, it's a catch-all thing. It catches on very quickly. And once they understand your purpose, your goals, and your desires, and what you're trying to accomplish, they are all there with you 100%. But you have to present yourself. No one knows about you because you're just sitting back. But once you come to the forefront and you begin to let them know, okay, this is who I am. This is what I'm about. This is what I'm trying to accomplish. I'm here to explain about human rights and our rights as young people, as well as adults, what our rights are. And I believe if you give me an opportunity to explain this to you, I believe you understand my total focus. So it's something that we have to continue daily to be endeavor with, to work on, to get to done. And because the fate of our society is the future that's in your hands. I'm speaking to the young people now. Our fate of our society and our future is in your hands. It's there for you to take a grasp on it, take hold on it, and run with it. And run with it. When I started out working with human rights and civil rights, I was green. I had to learn. I've had some good teachers along the way that have taught me several things about human rights as well as civil rights, but I had to learn. And once they indoctrinated and instilled in me the principles and everything and how things should be done and what they're standing for, missions, statements and things like that, I came online. I came into the focus of, hey, this really means something. Because when you're doing that, you're talking about a human being, a human life. Talking about someone that's there to guide in the future. You're talking about someone that wants to be a leader. You're talking about someone that wants to do things positive. And that's my focus. I always say, do it right the first time, because the second time you may not have a chance, but do it right the first time. And the same it is with our human rights. Do it right the first time. Get that information out there to everyone that you can. Get it to them. Get the material. They have the books. Scientists, they have the books readily available to give to you. It says, what are human rights? And they're all in that booklet. I have my mind goes with me everywhere I go. It's in my little book and I carry it everywhere I go. And it reminds me exactly what the purpose is, why we're doing something so positive. And it reflects everyone. It reflects everyone. We don't leave no one behind. because this thing is very, very catching once you understand about your human rights. And once you get that under your belt and you start learning it more and more, you'll be able to recite it all in a matter of minutes. You recite them all with no problem. But it takes time. This is a point of view that in human rights, things do take time to develop. Things do take time to mature. They take time to explain to others exactly about what's going on with human rights. It's not an overnight success. It takes time. We have to build this thing upon block, building it and support our leadership. Our leadership is vitally important when it comes to human rights. They've been there, done that. But now they're trying to pass the torch on to others to get them involved in human rights. So why not listen? Yes, listen, because it affects people. It affects young people, older people, the new generation coming on behind the generation now. It affects us all. But if we are in tune and we get involved with all of this, look what this world's going to be. This world's going to change. It's going to change drastically. But we have to take that step forward and let people know that we are for real. We're not sugarcoating anything. We're very positive about doing what we need to do and working with civil rights and human rights. But today we're talking about human rights. Civil rights will take care of itself. But human rights is vitally important today because it's our International Human Rights Day. Very, very proud of this. Very, very proud of this. Do you not know that when you get involved with something, you make a difference? Just by maybe a thing you may say or do, someone's going to notice. I was reminded, my brother once told me that someone is always watching you. That's why you got to be above board. You got to do things right, do things the right way. Because at least moment that you least expect and you let your guard down, something could come in the way. But he taught me very well. I have to keep my guard up and I have to learn as much as I can and help somebody. That's the important thing. Help your fellow neighbor. Help your fellow friend. Promote human rights to your friends. Promote it every day of your life. They're going to get the message. The message is going to come out clear. It's going to come out loudly, boldly, that you are very supportive of your human rights. That's what you need to do. Share this information to everyone. Everyone. So the right to public assembly. We have that right. The public assembly. What better way to get it out? Call a meeting. Set something up in your community and get it, publicized and everything and advertised and everything. And then go and teach people. It don't have to be that long. It could be about an hour or two and you're passing out information, but you're getting people involved. That's what it's about. Excuse me. But once you get people involved, look what this thing could really do. This is just just a tidbit, top of the things right now. But think in your mind's eye how far you can really go by putting this out more and more to more and more people. You will be greatly surprised of how well things can go, how they can be done. But I challenge the young people today, and I'm always challenging young folks. Do something. Don't do nothing. Do something. Do something in your community that affects your community in a positive way. Do something. Because once you put that foundation out there, they're going to support you. They're just waiting on a new leader to emerge. That's what the community is waiting on. Another leader to emerge, to come forth, to step forward and take that mantle and go forward. And once you do that, you'll find out that you have the community behind you 100%. They'll be supportive of you throughout your endeavor. And that's a great feeling when you have people behind you that can support you. And once they get behind you and they're supporting you, man, you got everything going for yourself. Because you did the right thing, you did it the right way, but you also had your leadership above you guiding you to do what was right. And that's very vitally important because you want to represent the organization to the highest. I call it 1,000%. I don't do 100% no more. I do 1,000% because I know if I do that 1,000%, it's going to go well. I have to do it better than I've done before. I have to make challenges on myself to do things better than before. Because somebody's watching to see, well, where's that little man going? What is he doing? Well, this is what he's doing. He's making a way out of no way because he's expecting things to get done 1,000%. And that's what I'm doing. I'm expecting to get things done 1,000% no matter what. But I challenge you young people today, that you do things positively. This human rights is a big, big thing. And if you take grasp and hold of it and you just put it in your spirit, say, okay, I'm going to do something positive. I'm going to do something the right way. I'm going to share this information with my friends. I'm going to share it with, and I'm going to ask them, share it with another friend. And did you not know if one shares with one shares with the other? Look how it's growing. Numbers grow, and they grow in strength. Because when you have those numbers escalating, they go to big numbers, you got a great, great strength builder there. And everybody's on the same sheet of music. And everybody's understanding and learning exactly about human rights. That's very vitally important. I do want to thank my very good friend, Mr. Christian Vargas, the executive director, for inviting me to come on. I was very shocked that he would invite me to come on. Sometimes I don't have too many words to say, but he kind of pushes me and motivates me to do certain things to assist. But that's what partnership's all about. You're focusing on your friends, you're focusing on others to help you get your word out, get your mission out. And I'm 100%, I'm 2,000% with him to do what's right and get things out to help the organization with human rights. And Christian, you can always count on me. Just, you got my phone number, just call me. I'll be always there to assist and to help in any way I can. This is a great partnership that I want to last forever. But I do want to thank you for inviting me tonight. Thanks Scientology for having me on also. And I appreciate everything that you're doing. And I turn it back over to our host for this evening, Mr. Michael Clayton.
Thank you very much, Reverend Clyde Carter. You may not be a man of many words, but I promise you your words this evening were very profound. You know, I've learned as a football player, I'm so common with people assuming that you're a great person just because you're on TV, or you may feel like you're a great person because you hold a title. Over my 39 years of life, I've really learned that what really makes you great is serving your brothers and sisters who are in need. And that's what this conference is all about, to make sure that we have the information so that we can properly serve humanity in a way that our foundation is built and it lasts for a very, very long time. A common theme that has stuck out with our speakers this evening so far has been to get involved. So, you know, that is what greatness is all about, serving and getting involved. So I, again, encourage everyone who's listening to get involved into educating yourself on the human rights. My parents would always tell me, you don't have to be great to get started, but you got to get started to be great. So here's an opportunity that is lying in the balance for you to educate yourself so that you can go serve humanity in such an excellent way. Reverend Clyde Carter, thank you so much for your words. Now I'm going to bring back to the screen Christian Vargas, joined with Ms. Sandra Marino, the Executive Director of United for Human Rights Tampa chapter. As well as we all know that a nonprofit organization would not survive if it weren't for the volunteers. So if you are a volunteer for United for Human Rights, make sure you stay tuned in. Tag any of your friends who have volunteered with you in this last year, because they don't want to miss this part. I promise you. Sandra, Christian, the floor is yours.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Michael. And thank you, Reverend Clyde Carter. Your words were powerful, to the point, and motivational. So thank you for being here with us tonight, Reverend Carter. I know that you mentioned this, but you are a brother to me as I am a brother to you. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm so glad to be here with my friend and fellow executive director for the Tampa chapter, Miss Sandra Moreno. Thanks for coming.
Yes, and thank you everybody that's watching us. And as Michael mentioned, volunteers are so important, especially for our organization. Without our volunteers, we would not be doing all the things that we're doing.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's so true. And that's why we wanted to come together today, Sandra and I, to give a specific shout out and thank you to the volunteers. You see, the way that our organization, as most nonprofits, work and function is we have minimal staff and maximal volunteers. And with those volunteers, we're able to actually go out and reach out into the community. We're able to educate others. We're able to do all of the tiny and large things that are needed so that we can accomplish our aims and purposes of educating and creating advocates for human rights. So across Florida, there are dozens and dozens of volunteers. I mean, let's take just Tampa alone. There's quite a number of people out there.
Yes, yes, for sure. And like what the activities that the volunteers do, like why it's so important. They basically, in our case, right, they educate. So if there's a school, right, that needs a workshop, a seminar, if there's a community organization that wants us to deliver a workshop or a specific human rights violation topic, they are the ones that are there delivering that information, right? So they're super important in that manner. They help us organize the events that we do. The one that we just did in Tampa, this one, right? So it's just based on volunteer, and we really I really appreciate that, especially like today. I got to see like all the work, the amazing work that the volunteers did, and they helped us. Like I would not like sometimes. We are the faces sometimes of the organization, but as you mentioned in another conversation, Christian, we would not be able to do all the things that we do and all the reach that we have and all the education that we do if the volunteers would not be available and delivering all that. So it's really, really important. Like,
absolutely,
I can't say it enough.
It's so true. And all the way from educating and delivering seminars in schools and to nonprofits, colleges all over Florida, to taking material to someone that is ordering it or sending an email out, making a phone call, preparing a list, doing a mailing. I mean, you name it. If it's there and needed, they're doing it. And they may not work every hour of every day, but when they work and when they help, it is the most valuable thing that they can be doing because it's selfless. It's selfless help that is for other people. And they do it for the pay of knowing that there will be smiles on other children's faces. And that's their pay, which in turn makes it so that that's our pay, because ultimately we are all here for that same common purpose, which is to help kids and adults learn their rights. So we just really want to say thank you so much to all the volunteers. I mean, we can't say it enough that this cannot happen without you. And, you know, I want you to understand, for everyone out there that maybe not a volunteer yet, that it's so easy to be a volunteer. All it takes is wanting to help. And I mean that quite literally. Whether you can help from home, from the offices here located in Clearwater, or from some of our chapter locations in Orlando, Miami, Tampa, or just from your own office or your home or your school, you can be a volunteer. All you need to do is reach out to us, send us a private message on Facebook or on Instagram or on YouTube. But really the key thing there is to just want to do it. We'll then set you up and we'll help you have everything you need in order to help, in order to reach out. And perhaps we need your help with something that we've got going on in our community or happening in your local zone. Or if we don't, we want your help to set something up. And you probably are involved in a school or with organization. You have parents, you have friends, you might be going to a church. You might know someone that's a member of the Boy Scouts. Whatever that is, we want your help to reach out. And that's the easiest thing that can be done, is reaching out, spreading the information, setting up an event, showing the video. There's so much that can happen.
Yeah, and since we're doing a live event, one of the easiest way to actually even help is to share the event.
That's right. That's a action that anybody can do. And right there, you've immediately become a member of our team ultimately, because you're helping spread and share the love and the information. So, you know, sharing this event when you are watching it helps as well, because the more people we reach, the more people we get on board to help us, and the more individuals who will ultimately educate on what their rights are, which is the entire purpose.
Exactly. So yeah, so thank you again to all of the people that are watching us, to all our amazing volunteers that we have across Florida, as Christian mentioned. And yeah, I just want to say like a very warm thank yous, because we literally could not be here without you.
So now, with that being said, we have a special presentation. We won't take up the time of showing you and naming out all of the awardees, but we are giving out a special award, acknowledgement per se, to some of our most valuable and dedicated and staunch volunteers that have been helping us for the past 12 months this year of 2021 throughout all of Florida. Now, they range from individuals that help in all manners and all types of ways, and all the way from Miami to Orlando, Tampa, Jacksonville, and you name it, Lutz, I mean, all over. So we have a special plaque that Sandra has here in her hand. This is one of the 50 plaques that we are giving out today to our volunteers. This plaque has a special engraving, and on it, it says, United for Human Rights Florida, 2021 volunteer. Your help is appreciated, and it has a name engraved in it, one for each of the 50 volunteers. The one that says here is to Miss Joy Jandusa, who is a relentless volunteer for us. She's been helping for years, in fact, through her company and through her employees, supporting United for Human Rights Florida. So we want to say thank you, Miss Jandusa. And to the 49 other volunteers that are receiving this, we're going to make sure that if you haven't gotten it already, as we already gave out a couple, you will be getting it in the mail. The Miami volunteers, Ms. Sarai Maza, the ambassador for United for Human Rights Miami, will be bringing them to you. We just want to say thank you so much for what you do. You're going to be getting this plaque, and it's the least that we could do to show you our appreciation. And with that, that's what I've got. I can't wait to give it to all of you. I can't wait to hear what you think about it and to work with all of you in 2022. We have great things coming up ahead for 2022. A lot of expansion, and we need all the help we can get. So thank you for being here and being on board.
And if you didn't get the award, that means that this year you can get it.
That's right.
So get active.
That's
and
exactly
be a volunteer.
right. And
Contact us.
if you didn't get one of these awards and you're not one of the 50, then we definitely encourage you. I mean, this is not limited to any one type of individual or any one type of help. We encourage everybody to get involved, to help us, to volunteer, because every single year we acknowledge and award our volunteers. We've been doing this now for several years in a row. We change it up every year, but we definitely love giving something every year to acknowledge those great efforts that you do. So if you haven't, then put it on your calendars to come on in and call us and find out how you can help. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, over to you, Michael. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Thank you, volunteers, for doing what you do, and I'll be seeing you shortly.
Yes, and I want to personally say thank you to all of the volunteers for all that you've done as well. And now for the final portion of this virtual conference and the special announcement of who takes home the title of Champion for Freedom 2021. Please welcome back Christian Vargas, joined by the Ambassador for United for Human Rights Florida Miami, Miss Zara E. Maza.
Hi, Michael. Again, thank you, everyone. And we are back this time with the beautiful and the dedicated Zara Maza.
Thank you, Christian. I'm so glad to be here with all of you, sharing this important moment that is the 20th anniversary of this amazing organization, Youth for Human Rights and United for Human Rights.
Totally. I'm so glad, and I'm so glad to have someone like you over Miami spearheading our activities. I wanted to take a moment for you to share how it is that you work with United for Human Rights in tangent with your organization. And to give an idea here, we have a lot of individuals that are watching or will be watching. Last year, we reached over 7,000 people with our annual event. And a lot of those are teachers, nonprofit organizations, leaders in their community, pastors, and you name it. And I want to give them a quick little idea of how it is that we work with partners. And I thought, why not bring the leader of all leaders of all of our partners, which is on our team?
Of course. Guardians of Human Rights is based in Miami. I mean, we are working all over Florida also, but we are in partnership with United for Human Rights from the very beginning. Basically, they provide us all the materials that we can share and spread the word about the human rights that is so important. And it's really, it's so glad. I mean, so good, so awesome to work with you, Christian. I gotta say, because any time that you have a trouble or something, like you don't have the experience to do, Christian is there to help you, to encourage you to, hey, no problem, go ahead. continue working. So it's like a little bit of coaching, life coaching also.
Little life coach. I didn't realize I had that hat, but good, I like it.
Yeah, yes. So I mean, I gotta tell you that anybody that wants to work with us, Guardians of Human Rights or United for Human Rights, or together, like for example, we have some other partnerships like the Survivor Pathway Organization, National Community Services, the Latin Commission of Human Rights that is also worldwide. And the point here is to work together, like as a machine. Each part of the machine contributes to the motion, and that's the movement that we want to create with the human rights.
That's exactly right. That's what we want to do. And I mean, as you know, we believe that this is a joint effort. So in our eyes, the more individuals that are on board, the better. There's no discrimination to who can come and who can promote human rights. And so we work, and I want to give a couple examples so that people really see the scope of it. But when you're a teacher, we know that teachers have their curriculums, they have their programs, they have their standardized testing and programs that they have to deliver. And we understand that. Our curriculum caters to that and helps teachers work with the programs that they have to teach, whether it be in civics, whether it be in English language arts, world history, and so forth, so that they can teach human rights alongside what they already have to, and therefore inspire their students to learn and to use their human rights. Then you take a nonprofit organization, take a Boys and Girls Club, or a Girl Scouts, or really any one of these 21st century community learning center type programs or nonprofits in general over Florida. And a lot of times what they like to do is they just order our material. They receive the booklets by the hundreds, for free, by the way. And we've sent out, literally at one point, different organizations have requested thousands of booklets because they have thousands of individuals that they reach. And the booklets, as Reverend Clyde Carter mentioned, are the What Are Human Rights booklets that have all 30 rights. And those are to promote those rights, and they hand them out, or they'll deliver seminars on them, or they'll hold an event and distribute the booklets or have them out in goodie bags. All of it is just to raise awareness and to inspire people to learn and to use their rights. So whether you're a teacher, you have a nonprofit organization, you're a pastor and you have a youth ministry, or your congregation in general, and you want to show them a video on human rights, no matter what it is, we want to work with you so that you have the tools necessary. Zaraí does that in Miami with all types of organizations.
Yes.
Many of who have now fully come on board to promote human rights themselves have requested the material, and that goes either straight to them or it passes through Zaraí's hands to get to them. This is from government to teachers. I mean, you recently were doing a whole seminar series with the school, right?
Yes, actually, it was 3 months that we were doing the human rights lessons. It was Monday and Tuesday, every single week.
Wow.
And that was in Hallandale Beach, aka the Gulf Stream. That's the name of the school.
Yeah.
And that was an amazing experience because, first of all, we gotta say that the misunderstood about the human rights is something that is general. So basically, many of the students thought that the human rights were just for certain groups and not for everybody. And after, after all the lessons, they were like, hey, I have human rights. Everybody have human rights. That they realize, and that star, that thing that you can see in their eyes.
That bright light.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's something so special, so rewarding.
Yeah. You delivered 11 seminars.
Correct.
11 of those seminars to 6 classes for 3 months straight.
140 students.
That's right. Every week, 140 students. They were middle school students, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Like 10 to 14.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. And I remember we were getting the successes. We were getting the
Yes.
feedback from the students.
Yes.
I mean, it really changed their lives. And that was Zaraí and her team down in Miami, which we really thank you for that.
Thank you.
But that's the kind of stuff, we deliver seminars in schools a lot. We deliver virtually as well. We've been delivering seminars to schools virtually since COVID hit. And just in the last 3 months, we've delivered, taking away the 3 months that she did, separate to that, I'd say close to 24 schools and seminars in schools. So it's very expansive. We're here to help. Like we mentioned earlier with Sandra and I, the volunteers are there to deliver as well as us. We train, we deliver as well. And we're really just excited that we can work with a lot of individuals out there in organizations. So on that note, we're going to get to the special announcement.
Oh, yes.
The very, very special and important yearly Champions for Freedom Award.
We're going to start with the first category, that is Human Rights Hero.
That's right. We've got the Human Rights Heroes, and they get this certificate.
Exactly.
This certificate says, United for Human Rights Florida hereby recognizes the following as being a human rights hero for your outstanding efforts to teach and promote human rights. Thank you for defending the inalienable rights that are entitled to everyone. And it's signed by myself and by Christopher King, our president of United for Human Rights Florida, who couldn't be here tonight because he's actively working on an international summit at the moment. So more on that later. It's signed from both of us, and we are going to read off, Zaray is going to read off the names of all the individuals that get awarded the Human Rights Hero, and we will, of course, be mailing this to you after the event.
Yes. So the awardees.
The awardees are, we'll start from here.
Yes. Steve Bobo, Mayor of the City of Hialeah. Beatriz Bustamante, the President of Angel Path Foundation. Angel Dominguez, that is a lawyer that was actually working with us on the
seminars?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Good. Ana Ramirez, that is the President of Palm Trail Inc. Rubén Ricaurte, de la Comisión Latinoamericana de Derechos Humanos. That doesn't have translation.
It's the Spanish part.
Yes. Martha Vega, President of National Community Services. Francesco Duberli, CEO of Survival Pathway Organization. Carlos Montes de Oca, Principal of the Humboldt International University. Janice Stringer, Peer Counsel and Teacher, Gulf Stream Academy of Handle Beach, K8. Luisana Soto, Vice President of Cantamos por la Paz. Karen Smith, Executive Director of Visions of Destiny. Connie Rose, Founder of Victims to Survivors. Joe Papadopoulos, TV and Digital Cinema Instructor, Blake High School for the Arts. And Janet Mata, Founder of Miel y Canela, Honey and Cinnamon Foundation.
Jeanette Ingram, the founder of She Helps to Empower.
And Michael Clayton, former NFL player and our MC today.
That's right. Thank you all so much. And you're all going to be receiving the Human Rights Hero Award, which is that certificate, which only a select number of individuals every single year get for working and partnering on promoting human rights. So thank you so much, and you'll be getting that certificate.
And now we have the second category.
Second category. This is the Honorary Freedom Fighters,
Yes.
which every year we select 2 to 3 individuals across the state that have shown above and beyond what is normally expected of a leader. So this is to say the leaders amongst leaders that take it onto themselves to promote and educate human rights, to make sure that those rights become a reality. There are 3 individuals that are going to be getting this award this year.
This beautiful
award here, this beautiful crystal, which is for being a freedom fighter. And the first awardee is El Señor Juan José Sabines, the consul of the Mexican consulate based in Orlando. And the other 2 individuals receiving this award are, first, another guest speaker of tonight, Mr. Alfred Santamaria, the founder of Latinoamericanos Unidos, and Mr. Reverend Clyde Carter from the NAACP Pasco County branch. Thank you so much, and congratulations. The 3 of you are going to be receiving that Crystal Award with your name engraved in it as an honorary freedom fighter, and the certificates. We'll be mailing it to you. Thank you so much for everything you've done, and we look forward to continuing to work with you.
And now we have the first.
That's right. The final awardee, and the one that is the utmost respectable and humanitarian across Florida. And in our eyes, and in many people's eyes, this is the biggest award in the field of human rights that exists in Florida. We have yet to come across a bigger award. It is the Champion for Freedom of the Year. This one is 2021. And for this year is an individual that has been working with us for over 8 years to promote human rights. She has taken it upon herself to ensure that students, teachers, principals, parents, and everybody from there in between know and understand what their rights are. She stands up for human rights no matter who you are, and she ensures that everybody indiscriminately gets the same information and knows that they have these rights and that nobody can take them away. For everything that you've done, Miss Kimberly Young, we want to thank you. We honor you. We are humbled to call you our partner, and we look forward to everything that is to come in our partnership to make sure that students and teachers and everybody else in your county learn their human rights. Kimberly Young from the Broward County Schools, thank you and congratulations on winning the 2021 Champion for Freedom Award. Thank you so much. And that concludes the awardees for tonight. All of you that have been named tonight will be receiving this in the mail. We really want to thank everybody for being on board. We really want to thank everybody for doing everything that you've done this last year. Once again, if your name wasn't on that list, do not worry. We know you. We know you're out there. There are many of you. In fact, there are over 1,400 individuals across Florida that we call our partners.
That's awesome. Well, you're supposed to continue working.
That's right. That's right. Keep working with us. We are here to help you, and we look forward to what's going to bring the new excitement and expansion across 2022. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here. That is the last thing that we've got for tonight's event. We're going to turn it back over to Michael to conclude the event. We want to thank everyone for watching. I want to thank every one of the speakers for joining us tonight. It really is a monumental event celebrating our 20th anniversary of Youth for Human Rights International, 20 years of fighting for rights. Here's to 20 more years. Thank you, everyone, and thank you to Sandra and to Zarai for being members of this family. I really appreciate it. Michael, over to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you so much, and I was honored to be on that list. And again, congratulations to all of the award recipients. If you got your name called today, it is an absolute honor that you should hold with great pride that you are doing a servant's job. So we thank you all for your participation and your volunteering efforts. Again, congratulations to Miss Kimberly Young for being our Champion for Freedom Award winner this year, 2021. Congratulations to you and your efforts as well. Well, that is it for our virtual event. I want to thank everyone for watching. Maybe you watched the entire conference or you tuned in at the end. But the good thing is that it will be posted on the Facebook page momentarily so that anyone can watch it. If you haven't already, please follow United for Human Rights Florida. Share this video on your pages and tag your friends in the comments. If you have any more questions, please send a message to United for Human Rights Florida. And I want to end by again saying congratulations to Youth for Human Rights International on its 20th anniversary for all they've done worldwide to educate the youth and adults on their human rights. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your evening.